Good morning, Africa. Welcome to the show, our morning show here on live on Cnetv, your number one blockchain, fintech, and crypto TV platform. So amazing time out. Happy new month to you all. It's a beautiful new month. Let's see what the month of June holds for us. We know it's going to be bringing amazing things our way. So good morning once again to Africa. It's our show here, our breakfast show, where we help you get started for your day. So it's about 7 a.m. here, few minutes after 7 here. That's West African time, live here in Lagos. So we are getting started. So we'll be starting with some motivation for the day, and most especially it's a new month. So we'll be looking at some of the motivations that we'll have that will also help us not only starting the day, also helping us starting the month as well. So I'm your host for this show, Lee. So I know it's going to be an amazing time out today. We have lots of things loaded, a lot of trending headlines that we're going to be discussing. And also we have the market to review. So we are going to be looking as well at different markets, the crypto market, commodity, stock, and FS. So we'll be running down the headlines, and we'll have our guests who is going to be joining us very anytime soon. So we'll be having our guests joining us to discuss in these trending headlines, and also we'll be looking at the SEC Nigeria's cryptocurrency regulation. I believe after this week we'll be done with that particular discussion. We'll really do it on that particular subject matter, but it's worth the time. So happy new month once again. So we'll be going for a short break. When we return, we'll dive into the show proper. We will be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. A beautiful Wednesday morning and a beautiful new month it is for us. We know the new month is going to bring lots of good things. So we're going to be looking at our thoughts. So that's what I really want us to look at, having positive thoughts. So when your thoughts controls how things happen around you, so you have to be able to have positive thoughts. It comes with beliefs, it comes with faith, so you have to have that positive thought. Whatever you are thinking about, have positive thoughts. Believe that what you are doing will really amount to something meaningful. So some people may be thinking negatively, doubts. They have lots of doubts in their minds, even though they are doing some certain things. They have doubts. They don't really believe in what they are doing. They are just doing it for doing sake, and also whiling away time. So it's important that we have positive thoughts in whatever we are doing. Also have that positive thoughts that what you're doing is going to amount to something, no matter how little it is. So you have to start somewhere. It's just a step, like a popular says that say a journey of 1,000 miles or so begins with just a step. So make that step and have that positive thoughts that what you are doing is going to amount to something. So even if you are a project founder, you are a project founder, you are a project executive, or whatever it is, whatever ecosystem you find yourself, is of importance that you will be able to have positive thoughts. Even with what is happening in the crypto space, I really love the kind of faith people have in this ecosystem when it comes to thoughts. They are always having positive thought that no matter how low it is, it will still go high. So having positive thought is our word for today. So we're still going to be looking at the market. So we just want to use this word to get you started, to prepare you ahead of today. And it's a beautiful new month. And this is the first time we are having a show in a beautiful new month like this. So thank you very much. And I know you're going to be having a thoughts around that particular word, positive thoughts. Just have a time to think about whatever you are doing and believe, have faith that it will work out perfectly well, and you see everything aligning. Most especially this new month, whatever plans you have, whatever agenda you have, whatever strategy you want to use, always remember that your thoughts are very, very important. Thank you. So we'll be going for a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at the different markets ranging from crypto, commodity, FS, and stock markets. So do not go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. This beautiful morning and a beautiful new month it is. So let's look at how the market is really reacting, most especially at this new month. So we saw yesterday, before I go to the looking at the market, so we saw yesterday what really happened, most especially in the crypto market. We saw some positivities in the cryptocurrency market, even though this morning it looks as if those gains have been flushed out, but not completely. But we could see that yesterday we saw many cryptocurrencies doing 10% increment. We saw some doing 50 and not the rest of them. So let's look at the entire cryptocurrency market cap, and we have the news around that too, about cryptocurrency market capitalization being the number 10 largest assets in the world. So when we get to those headlines, we'll be able to expatiate more. So let's look at the entire cryptocurrency market. We look at it's still at 1.362 trillion dollars. That's 1,362,461,996,334 dollars. It has lost 0.9%, close to 1% there in the last 24 hours. So if you look at the market there, the trade volume, we have 92 billion. That's 92,105,229,553 dollars. That's the 24-hour volume there. So the last time it was around 100 and something bits. Let's see how that plays out. We'll look at dominance there. Bitcoin dominating with 44.3%. We also have Bitcoin on the headline today. Bitcoin climbing back to top 10 assets in the world. Top 10 assets in the world. So Bitcoin was able to climb. It has been there before, but due to the market crash, recent market crash, it's really made Bitcoin to go down. Number one asset class there we have there is gold. So we see that Ether is following with 17.2%, $31,610. So yesterday in the evening, yesterday evening, Bitcoin was able to get up to 32,000. So those has really flesh out those gains, but it's still at $31,610. That was around what it was yesterday morning when we came here. So it was trading around 31,600 or 500 yesterday. So there's nothing much around that. You see, Bitcoin has really gained in the last 24 hours. It has gained 0.1%. So that's it there. I'll look at Ether. Ethereum there is currently trading at $1,936.37. So that's around what it was trading yesterday, and it has gained in the last 24 hours. It has lost 1.9%. So I don't think the data there is still the percentage, the losses on the screen there. Maybe it has not really been refreshed. So we also look at the next in line there. We're skipping the two stable coins there. We look at BNB. BNB currently trading at $318. So it's trading at $318.79. So you see that BNB has lost 0.1%. So still around that. We look at Cardano. Cardano there. Okay, is the ticker there. We look at SRP. SRP currently trading at $0.42.42. So we look at Cardano. Cardano, Cardano trading at $0.60. So we look at next there is Solana, because we're skipping the stable coin there. We look at Solana trading at $44.912. Dogecoin there is currently trading at $0.085. Polkadot currently trading at 10.390. So that's how far we can go on on how far we can go on crypto market. So we take a look at the next we have here, stock market. We'll take a look at stock market. Apple currently trading at $148.84. Cisco trading at $45.05. Coca-Cola at $63.38. Intel at $44.42. Microsoft at $271.87. So we move over to next market. We'll look at commodity market. How is the commodities? How are they trading? So I told you earlier on that gold is the number one asset class in the world. So currently 1 ounce of gold is trading at $1,836.90. That's the price for 1 ounce of gold there. Silver is trading at $21.525. Copper is trading at $4.2770. Platinum is trading at $962.50. Palladium is trading at $2,006.28. Crude oil at $115.48. So we take a look at FS market. How is the FS market reacting this morning? So we also have a news around the FS, and that is most especially we'll be looking at Lebanon currency crashing as high as over 30,000 Lebanese pounds to $1. So that's very bad for that particular nation's economy. So euro against USD is at 1.0713. Pounds against USD is at 1.2591. USD against Japanese yen is at 129.22. USD against Canadian dollar is at 1.262. Australian dollar against USD is 0.717. So that's how far we can go with the market update today. So we've been able to look at the different markets, cryptocurrency, commodity, FS, and stock market. Paying more attention on the cryptocurrency markets, which is where we are doing our major focus there. So interesting, the markets are not really doing bad. Most especially the cryptocurrency market, it's really performed well yesterday evening. So even shading off, I believe the market may be retracing. Let's watch out how all those play out. So that's how far we can go, and we are still on the show Good Morning Africa, live on Cnetv, your number one blockchain, crypto, and fintech TV. So we are here for you. So we'll be going for a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at the trending headlines and some input, and after that we'll be having our guests on the show. So do not go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa, live on Cnetv. So the first and leading 247 live broadcasting TV for blockchain, crypto, and fintech ecosystem in Africa. Let's take a look at the headlines. But before that, we'll take a look at some of the headlines that we had yesterday. Let's just run through some trending headlines that we had yesterday. We just rush the ones for yesterday. Yesterday we had on the news, provision allowing crypto payment in foreign trade added to Russian bill, and we still have a headline close to that today. Central African Republic's president says Bitcoin is the currency of the universe. Bitcoin has experienced its fourth longest bear run in history. We didn't go in depth on that yesterday. Brad Garlinghouse says NFT underhyped, sees new use cases. MoneyGram, a remittance giant, set to launch new crypto services with Stellar. We've also brought you yesterday, billionaire Tim Draper predicts Bitcoin will reach $250,000 by end of 2022 or early 2023. And he said that as Bitcoin surpasses 31K for the first time in 2 weeks. Ethereum transaction fee hit a 10-month low as gas fee per transaction sink below $3. Shiba Inu founder Riosh erases all social media posts, possibly bows out of the project. We looked at Luna price and also at SEC Nigeria cryptocurrency regulations. That was it for yesterday. So yesterday is gone and we have a beautiful new day, and also it is a beautiful new month. So let's look at our trending headlines that we have for you this morning. So number one there is Russia is open to Bitcoin crypto for international payment. The news yesterday, on the news yesterday, we made mention that Russia is looking at putting it in their bill to Bitcoin as means of payment for international transactions. And we saw that the central bank there had some issues on that. It wasn't supportive. But we're now seeing that the central bank is also looking at it. According to the story here that we have on this story, a senior official from the Central Bank of Russia Federation said it is open to using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies for international payments. The Central Bank of Russian Federation is open to allowing the use of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies for international payments, according to a report from Reuters. In principle, we do not object to the use of cryptocurrency in international transactions, said First Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Shinya Yondeva. However, the financial authorities' open-mindedness only stretches so far. Yondeva continued to explain, we still believe that the active use of cryptocurrency within the country, especially within Russia's financial infrastructure, creates great risk for citizens and users. We believe that in our country, those risks could be reasonably large. The continued Russian debate on not only the use of currencies like Bitcoin, but also the process of mining Bitcoin have become hot button topic over the last year. Just this January, the central bank proposed a blanket ban on mining Bitcoin. Russia's president took the opposing position of the central bank, stating, although of course we also have certain competitive advantage here, especially in the so-called mining, referring to the nation's natural climate and energy surpluses. The Russian government proposed a bill seeking to regulate Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. At the time, Andrei Logovo, first deputy head of the Committee on Security and Anti-Corruption for the State Duma, the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation, said, when we talk about digital financial assets, about cryptocurrency, about the crypto market, we must understand that we are not just trying to amend certain bills. We are trying to regulate a new entity that the whole world is facing, and we must determine our position. Russia's Ministry of Finance followed the government proposal with a bill of its own, which intended to respect the Bitcoin ecosystem and empower those operating businesses within the space by assigning regulatory practices. Now, some members of the Russian Federation believe Bitcoin is only a matter of time. Denis Manturov, Minister of Industry and Trade for the Russian Federation, offered his opinion on May 18. The question is when it will happen, how it will happen, and how it will be regulated. Now, both the central bank and the government are actively engaged in it, the report says. Russia is still looking at that possibilities of having Bitcoin as means of payment and other cryptocurrencies. I believe this is also going to help them when it comes to, like I said yesterday, when it comes to the sanctions by Western world. So because of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, so a lot of backlashes on Russia there. So they are looking for a way to do that. But what does that really mean for the crypto ecosystem? What we really want is adoption, and we see some possibilities there because looking at the population of Russia, they have a good number of population, and and them embracing Bitcoin is going to be a good one for the community. So we look at next headline there is crypto banking rules now due this year from Basel Committee. So we're going to be looking at that cryptocurrency banking rule. So let's look at what the report has. Let's see. According to CoinDesk report, crypto banking rules now due this year from Basel Committee. The group cited recent turmoil in pushing ahead with its plans, which previously saw opposition from major lenders like JP Morgan Chase. So that, according to the story, norms governing banks' exposure to crypto assets will be completed this year. The Basel Committee on Banking Supervision said, taking notice of recent market struggles as a reason to push ahead with the controversial plans. The Global Banking Standard Setter last year proposed rule requiring lenders to hold $1 in capital for each $1 of crypto held. So that's what that particular crypto banking rules is. That faced significant opposition from the likes of JP Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank, two banks that viewed that as an overly onerous standard. Recent developments have further highlighted the importance of having a global minimum prudential framework to mitigate risk from crypto assets. The committee said in a statement, likely referring to the recent collapse of Terra USD stablecoin. The committee plans to publish another consultation paper over the coming months with a view to finalizing the prudential treatment around the end of this year, it said. Since 2008, the Basel, Switzerland-based organization has steadily toughened banks' capital requirement to avoid a repeat of the financial crisis, the report stated. So that's what it really means there, that particular crypto banking rules. Let's move over to the next headline there. So these are more we'll be talking about. We're going to be expatiating more on these when our guest joins us. So these are the headlines we'll be looking at, paying more attention on the SEC Nigerian crypto regulation. So over the week, last week we saw the rise of the price of Wave. So Wave, according to that headline, Waves skyrocket as details of DeFi revival plan unveiled, though it's still down 85% from all-time high. What that really means is that Wave is really it unveiled its plan for DeFi revival. So a lot of stories around that particular project. And that announcement was made on Friday last week, and we saw the price of Wave. Wave traded around up to $9, so skyrocketing and making those moves. So according to reports here, the report states of Waves skyrocket as details of DeFi revival plan unveiled, although it's still down 85% from all-time high. The native token of the blockchain platform, Waves, has risen sharply in price this week. That was last week, as a new master plan to bring back confidence in decentralized finance on the network has been unveiled. So at about 11:08 UTC on this Tuesday, Wave stood at USD at a price of 9.2 USD, up 63% over the past 24 hours and up 61% for the past 7 days. However, the price is still down 85% from its all-time high it has reached this month. The recent gains come as the Wave network on Friday last week unveiled its DeFi revival plan, which it said intends to make all Waves protocol users whole and restore full functioning of its ecosystem's DeFi protocols. A revival plan for DeFi protocols on the network has been seen as necessary for the Waves community after 2 incidents in April left many Waves users with heavy losses, leading to a loss of confidence in Waves' future as a chain for DeFi. According to that report, on April 2, the Neutrino protocol stablecoin USDN lost its US dollar peg due to heavy selling of the coin in a liquidity pool on DeFi protocol Curve Finance. The price of the token fell to as low as 0.76, while Virus Finance, a lending protocol on Wave, experienced a bank run when worried lenders rushed to withdraw their deposit. Then, as the old Terra network collapsed and Terra USD lost its peg around May 10, USDN once again suffered what was described as a second large depegging, sending the coin to a similar low as the first time around. At the time of writing, according to this report, USDN has yet to fully recover from this incident, trading in the range of $0.95 and $0.99 over the last 24 hours. According to the Waves revival plan, new measures such as daily withdrawal limits and adaptive borrow and withdrawal limits for Virus Finance have already been implemented. Other measures include new incentive mechanism to improve the demand for USDN and a more controversial proposal to take control of the collateral of some large borrowers on Virus Finance will now be up for the community to decide on. In conclusion, the plan admitted that DeFi on Wave has suffered a significant crisis and that similar situations have destroyed other protocols in the past. So, they are urging the community to support the upcoming proposal and help them maintain the protocol sustainability, the plan stated. So that's it on Wave. A lot of these protocols are really facing many challenges, most especially with the Terra network being the recent one. So a lot of projects are looking at way to upgrade and also avoid some mistakes and challenges that may come. So next story we have is so funny. The story there is a researcher's avatar was sexually assaulted on a metaverse platform owned by Meta, making her the latest victim of sexual abuse on Meta's platform. So I saw this and it looks so funny. So these are some of the things will be some of the challenges we'll be seeing on when it comes to metaverse. I would like to read that story according to Yahoo Finance. So we look at it. That story there says a researcher entered the metaverse wanting to study user behavior on Meta social networking platform Horizon World. But within an hour after she donned her Oculus virtual reality headset, she says her avatar was raped in the virtual space. Metaverse, another cesspool of toxic content. A new report published by the non-profit advocacy group Some of Us on Tuesday details the researchers' violent encounter in Meta's Horizon World. According to Some of Us account, users invited the researcher to a private party on Horizon World earlier this month. Users in the same room then asked her to disable a setting that prevented others from getting within 4 feet of her. The report linked to a video that the group says showed that what happened to the researcher's avatar from her perspective. In the video, a male avatar is seen getting very close to her, while another male avatar stands nearby, watching. A bottle of what appears to be alcohol is then passed between the two avatars by the 20-second video. Two male voices are heard making lewd comments in the video. In a part of the video Some of Us opted not to share but described, the researcher was led into a private room at a party where she was raped by a user who kept telling her to turn around, and all the rest of them. Even though it happened in virtual reality, the incident left the researcher disoriented, she said in the report. The researcher noted her controller vibrated when the male avatar touched her, resulting in a physical sensation that was a result of what she experienced online. So that story is very much. I'll not go further on that story, but it's an interesting one, how those things could happen. So I know these questions have been asked several times, and recently we are seeing what is happening. So people have been asking questions about sexual relationship when it comes to our metaverse. So a lot of things can be done on the metaverse. So a lot of people have been asking questions, how does this really work? Metaverse is a form of another world, artificial world, whereby you can have whatever it is in another world. So having your avatar your avatar represents you in the metaverse world. So you could be able to do some hangouts, you could be able to club, whatever you could do when it comes to real life, you can as well replicate that on the metaverse. So it is huge. You have different companies, hotels, accommodations, real estate, everything on the metaverse. We saw that Facebook is also moving with this, and this is a Facebook platform, Horizon World. So we see a lot of things will be happening on the metaverse. This is one of some of the challenges that maybe resulted. But according to that report, there are settings that makes someone to be 4 feet away from you. So how would you really describe this? That she was able to disable it. What was she expecting when she disabled? Since there are settings for that for the distance, so it's been advised that even the people that you don't really know, it's not advisable for you to disable those settings that will enable them stay 4 feet away from you. So when you disable them to strangers, they will be able to come closer to you. So according to that, that's so much funny experience, but not I don't know how. So those are some of the challenges that the metaverse will be saying. I know all this will be settled as time goes on. This ecosystem is still at its infant stage, so a lot of research and a lot of work need to be put in place. We will get there. So that's it on that. We look at Adaverse. The next headline there is Adaverse bags cassava network with a seed investment to empower African content creators. Let's see as that story. That story is on Coin News Extra, our website. It's on our website. So according to that story, is Adaverse, a Cardano ecosystem accelerator established to foster the growth of crypto native projects in Africa, today announced its investment into a seed funding round for Cassava Network, a blockchain infrastructure that empowers African content creators, developers, and end users through mutually aligned tasks and incentives. over 40 investors, including Dragonfly, CMT Digital, YGG, Marina, etc., participated in the recently closed investment round to implement the next phase of cassava platform development. Adavas was launched in September 2021 at a joint venture partnership between Emugo Africa and Everest Ventures to identify and provide valuable support resources to promising African founders building the next wave of Web3 dApps in DeFi, NFTs, gaming, and metaverse tools on Cardano, third generation and environmentally sustainable blockchain. So that's a brief. We'll take a brief about that story. A brief about Cassava Network. Cassava is a blockchain infrastructure that connects developers and users to Web3 ecosystem through its native token CSV. Cassava transforms any web application into a crypto-enabled app suitable to reward contributors and end users for their dedication. Adavas. Adavas is a Cardano-focused joint accelerator initiative set up with the collaboration of Emugo Africa and a subsidiary of Emugo, the official commercial arm of the Cardano protocol, and Everest Venture Group, a leading blockchain industry accelerator looking to build the infrastructure of the projected 139.4 billion African blockchain market by 2028. So that's a good one. We see those investments coming into African projects. Cassava. Last week we had the CEO of Cassava joining us. Maybe one of these days we'll have him again on the show where he will talk about this investment. I know they recently raised some amount of money to build that project, Cassava Network. So that's a very good one, having African projects. So, and this particular investment, I believe, is coming at the right time, most especially with the regulations, the SEC Nigeria regulations that is coming. So they have enough fund to be able to go about those licensing from my own point of view. So it's a good one for the African blockchain industry. It's a good one. There is a lot of investments are coming into Africa and Nigeria. So we still have other headlines, but we'll go for a short break. When we return, we'll continue with the headlines. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. So interesting conversation it has really been. We are still on the headlines for today, the trending headlines, and also do well to follow Cnetv across all our social media handles at Cnetv1. So that will help you to stay updated with trending headlines and what is really happening in the blockchain, fintech, and crypto ecosystem. So because of our time, very soon our guests will be joining us. Let's run through the remaining headlines that we have. Next headline there is with Terra 2.0. It's bye-bye Algo on stable coin. So according to that report, let's take a quick look at that report. So these are a report on CoinGecko there. Crypto moves fast, extremely fast. Terra is a showcase of just how fast the industry moves. This article is with a couple of weeks, Terra has gone from being a decentralized stablecoin of choice to collapsing in a matter of days to rising from the ashes as a transformed blockchain. This after the death of UST and Luna, the founder of Terra 2.0 announced a comeback plan. However, instead of salvaging the previous chain, an entirely new Terra network would be launched. So this is just trying to explain what really happened in the Terra network. So this time around, though the chain wouldn't be centered around UST, instead the algorithmic stablecoin would be totally discarded with no plans for its introduction to the new blockchain. Kwan argued that Terra is more than UST, and with that published a governance proposal titled Terra Ecosystem Revival Plan 2. The governance proposal went through with much ease, having 65.50%, like we said last week on the show, in favor, 13.20% opposing it, and 20.98% abstaining from voting. While the vote went through, many on public forums and Twitter were opposed to a new blockchain. Some advocated for the burning of Luna token and UST. However, Kwan was quick to point out that this was not possible as such tokens are owned by investors and not Terra. Yeah, we had that report on the show last week. We had a lot of people, the community were asked to burn about 25% of their holdings, which we also said we'll see how that unfolds, because since these are different individuals, we don't know how they are going to be responding to that. Now, with the governance vote going through, it has paved the way for the new network to launch and for new Luna tokens to be airdropped to affected holders of USTC and Lua. That's Luna Classic, original UST and Luna, so which has already happened. So those airdrops has really happened. So it has been airdropped to holders of those old Luna token, and still the old Luna tokens still being traded on exchanges. Terra 2.0, dubbed Phoenix 1 to represent its rise from the ashes, has since gone live with blocks being produced. Luna tokens have also been airdropped to affected investors. Meanwhile, the old chain has been rebranded to Terra Classic, with Luna changing its ticker to LUNC. UST still exists on the old chain, though it's no longer a stable coin, and is now called Terra USD Classic, USTC. The report concludes. So that's it on Terra there. So the project is not continuing with the UST stable coin. So the UST Classic is running. It's no longer a stable coin. It's now a normal token. So that's how it is. Still, the ecosystem is still at its infant stage. Let's see those that lost a lot of money there, how they'll be able to recover, because we see that this token has also gone high, close to $9. The new Luna, the Luna 2.0, it's increased to up to $9. So let's see how the project recovers from that shock. I know they are taking both steps to make that happen, and let's see there are improvements. So we move to the next headline. like I said when we are looking at the market, so fresh gains push Bitcoin back into the world's top 10 most valuable asset, as crypto market cap still the world's 10th largest asset by market valuation. So that's a good one. With this recent, I made a mention of how the market reacted over the weekend. So the market reacted very well. Not over the weekend, I beg your pardon. Yesterday, so the market reacted very well, and we see Bitcoin going up to $32,000 before it retraced back to what it is now, around $31,600. So let's look at how that plays out. So while Bitcoin has lost more than 16% in value against the US dollar during the past 30 days, the cryptocurrency market capitalization is still the world's 10th largest asset by market valuation, with 603 billion in market value. Bitcoin is above Meta's, formerly Facebook, capitalization, and just below Berkshire Hathaway's overall valuation. So the leading crypto asset, Bitcoin, has had a rough few weeks in terms of market prices dropping. A month ago today, BTC was 16% higher in USD value, as the recent stock market carnage and the Terra Luna and UST fiasco contributed to Bitcoin losses. However, in terms of market dominance, BTC market capitalization among more than 13,000 cryptocurrencies is now over 44% of the 1.36 trillion crypto economy. Like we looked at the crypto market capitalization, so we saw that Bitcoin is currently dominating by 44%, and the crypto market cap is at 1.36 trillion dollars. While BTC is the number one leading crypto asset today in terms of market valuation, the crypto assets market cap makes it the 10th largest in terms of all the major market capitalization, stemming from the likes of companies like Apple and Amazon, alongside precious metals like gold and silver. If you look at that stat there, gold is the number one there. Gold is the largest market cap among the 6,265 commodities. So we have gold there as the more largest market cap. Gold alone has about $11.737 trillion market cap. So that's gold market cap is far more than the entire cryptocurrency market capitalization. So following gold, there is Saudi Aramco, which is at $2.457 trillion. We know as things unfold, we know that even the crypto market cap will grow, and Bitcoin market cap, about not the population of the world, just few number of the population of the world has really embraced Bitcoin and crypto. So it's now up to 5% of the over 8 billion people that we have. So I will believe by the time more adoption comes in, the market cap will grow there. Number 3 on that list is Apple at $2.406 trillion. That's the market cap. Microsoft at $2.025 trillion. Alphabet, that's Google, at $1.466 trillion. Silver at $1.227 trillion. Amazon at $1.200 trillion. Tesla at $786.05 billion. Berkshire Hathaway at $698.81 billion. Bitcoin, their number 10 at $607.68 billion, trading at about $31,628. Today, gold is the largest market capitalization among the 6,265 commodities and companies that make up the 86.516 trillion in USD value. 1 ounce of fine gold today is exchanging hand for 1,848 per dollar, like we saw on market review that we did, and it has overall valuation of 11.7 days. We have gone through that. So companies marketcap.com metrics currently shows Bitcoin 603 billion market cap equates to 5.39 13% of gold's overall market capitalization. That means that Bitcoin is 5% of the entire gold market cap. Wow. The second largest asset is Saudi Aramco, which is worth 2.457. So all these are on the screen there. You could see how this plays out. That's how far you can go on that particular discussion headline. So we see how these assets are really performing. So our Bitcoin is still coming up there, and it still has a bright future. So this is a good one for the industry. So we are growing. The crypto industry is really growing. So you can't compare crypto, Bitcoin with other asset class because those have stayed for a longer time. But you see, Bitcoin just at 12 years or there. But yes, Bitcoin at that's around 12 to 14 years in existence. So why gold has been there and all those assets. So let's see how that plays out as well. We look at the next headline here. That's about financial crisis. Also, it's about Lebanon. So Lebanese pound exchange rate against dollar plunges to all-time low. So imagine $1 exchanges are at black market rate. That's $1 is at 35,600 Lebanese pounds. That's very high. So inflation has really affected that nation's economy. So that's how we will. So later on we have our guest who has joined us. So later on we'll be looking at that particular headline, the Lebanese pound exchange rate against dollar. So that's a big inflation. It has really hit that nation, and they are looking for a way to come out. So they have been advised for reform. Let's see if they will go for reform so that the IMF can see a way of coming in to helping them. So that's how far with the headlines. We still have Lebanese to look at more. But since we have our guests and our time is fast spent, we'll be going for a short break. When we return, we'll be returning with our guest. He will be making input on these trending headlines and also on the Nigerian SEC cryptocurrency regulation briefly. So thank you very much. We are not yet done with the morning show. It's still Good Morning Africa. So we are going for a short break. When we return, we continue with the conversation. We will be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. We have been able to do a lot this morning, and it's a beautiful morning and a beautiful new month. Uh, we have been able to look at different headlines for today, trending headlines and interesting headlines to help you stay updated about what is really happening in this ecosystem. So at this juncture, I'll be welcoming our guest for today. So we have a guest who's going to helping us talk about some of these headlines that we have here today. So we have with us Jadel Chidi, who is the founder of CryptoCribs and lead blockchain league community. He's joining us from Abuja. You are welcome, Jadel.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Happy new month to you. And how are you doing this new month?
Thank you so much. Happy New Month to you as well. I'm doing very well. Interestingly, this month happens to be my birth month.
Wow, that's very good. So we'll be waiting for the birthday cake then this month.
Yeah, I'll
That's
probably go to the studio to celebrate with you guys. Hopefully,
Are you coming to Lagos or Abuja?
Abuja, of course.
Our headquarters is in Lagos, so
Fingers.
it'll be
Okay.
no problem. So once you get to our branch office, branch studio in Abuja, they will send it down to us. So thank you very much once again for joining us. So we'll be having amazing conversations this morning. So ranging from Russia open to Bitcoin crypto for international payment to crypto banking rules now due this year from Basel community to wave skyrockets as details of DeFi revival plan unveiled as it's still down 85% from all-time high. We looked at a researcher's avatar was sexually assaulted on the metaverse platform owned by Meta, making her the latest victim of sexual abuse on Meta's platforms. Adovas backs cassava networks with a seed investment to empower African content creators. With Terra 2.0, its bye-bye ago unstable coin. We also looked at fresh gains push Bitcoin back into the world's top 10 most valuable asset as crypto market cap, still the world's 10th largest asset by market valuation. So we couldn't go deep on the headline Lebanese pound exchange rate against dollar plunges to all-time low. So that's it. Let's start with Terra. We are seeing what is happening in the Terra. It has really affected the entire crypto space. So, what's your take generally on the Terra or ecosystem? What really happened with Terra?
All right. Well, of course, Terra came out. I can't remember actually the time they launched their mainnet, but I know I got some Terra Luna sometime last year, and I exited before the crash, But you agree with me that Terra Luna had they actually came up with an experiment that hasn't been tried in space before now, looking at the UST stablecoin algorithm that is actually based on or backed by algorithm, unlike you have USDT or USD that is backed by the US dollar. So it was actually an experiment, that hasn't been tried before. And of course, you also agree with me that the cryptocurrency is still a new technology the blockchain technology is still a new ecosystem. It's still a new technology um, that is being groomed. It's just barely 13 years old, the entire industry. So um, nobody knows, the current projects that are going to stand the test of the next beer run. So of course, we've seen from 2017 into 2018 up to this point that not all of the projects that were in on coin market cap still do exist today. A lot of them fizzled out. So having that in mind, you agree that not every project is going to make it throughout the whole cryptocurrency cycle. So but citing what has happened with Terra Luna, it was actually, even Dokwan, was has been talking, or he has been in the public space, just trying to sum up some confidence. I mean, if you, whatever you're building, if you're building a project, the least thing you want to be is top down on what you're building. You want to put out every uh, vibe, every positive vibe out there, so that, I mean, people who are buying into your projects, your investors, your community will get to believe, and know that, man, this guy who is heading this project is a visionary. So um, he doesn't know. He never knew entirely that the Terra 1.0 was going to fail. And I mean, not everyone believed it was going to fail, because at the peak of the market, it got to an all-time high of, I think it was around $150 thereabout. But good enough for me, I hesitated when it was $69. Because there's this community where there's a community where everyone in the community I belong to, where everyone in the community trades futures, and somebody in the community who happens to be the community lead, was saying in one of the meetings we had, that from what he was seeing in the market, that Luna was going to, come back down to less than $20. Not everyone believed him at that point, but at that point, it was still trading around at about $69, and that was the point where I hesitated. But then no one anticipated that it was going to go below. I mean, it crashed. That's just the word for it. A coin that traded for an all-time high of $150, coming back down to less than a cent. So the best word to describe that is it crashed. So but then, like I said, the whole Terra Luna ecosystem, being paired with UST, was all, an experiment beyond what we have seen with other projects in the ecosystem, in the cryptocurrency, ecosystem. So uh, well, for me, as an investor, from my experience, I'm not going to point accusing fingers to Dokon, unlike what lots of folks are doing on Twitter, because, like I said, the space is still a very, young industry. So nobody knows if whatever they are building is actually going to stand, until the next cycle. So but we just have this faith that we are building what should be able to stand, regardless of what happens in the market. And like what I used to tell people in my community, uh, there is almost nothing that has guarantee in life, even human life. No one knows for sure if they are going to wake up the next morning when they sleep. So with that mindset, I treat every investment I go into that way, knowing that anything can happen to this investment. So I choose to put in what I can afford to lose, and whenever I don't feel comfortable staying any longer in the market, I pull out. So uh, uh, um, all the same, the Terra Luna ecosystem was an experiment that has never been seen in this space before. So it did all it could. The Dokwan, his team, his investors and all of those that believed in the project, that worked on the project, did all they could, to keep it going, but we now saw how everything played out. Of course, they came out with Terra 2.0, right? And it did about 300% the day it was launched. And the last time I checked about it, it came back down to minus 70%. But of course, what do you expect? That's the way things work in life. There is nothing that goes up and keeps going and never comes back down, especially when it comes to do with the financial market, and of course when it comes to do with cryptocurrencies, because cryptocurrency is a speculative market. No one knows for sure, regardless of how much you can predict with your charts, with your TAs and your FAs. Anything can happen, even when you're seeing that things are might play out the way you assume. And we've seen cases like that. And anything can happen, and all of a sudden, it start going back. Opposite direction. So I expected Terra 2.0 to drop back down, the way it did, because I mean that's part of the market nature. But uh, if projects like Dogecoin, can still be in the market, if projects like I mean, the whole of if you look at the whole of meme tokens, that had lots of playground with.
Shiba and all the rest.
Yeah. So if you look at what they did in the last bull run, between 2020, late 2020 into 2021, and some of them are still in the market. And one thing that amazes me about Dogecoin is Dogecoin has been in the market, I think, since 2013. Even though it's
Yes.
a meme token. But one thing that you can't take away from Dogecoin, which is supposed to serve as a lesson to every project, is the the unity in the community. I used to tell people something, and regardless of whatever you're building, no matter what it promises to offer to the users, one thing you should invest in is community. You know, if you have a strong community, wherever it is you're building, you have some sort of guarantee that what you're building, has a strong user base. Have people who believe in it, and they will go all the way out to stand with you regardless of what happens. So I think one of the things that Terra Luna needs to do at this point is not to focus on the Terra 2.0 that they've come up with, because lots of people are already calling it a Ponzi scheme. So what they need to do at this point is to find a way to compensate their community handsomely, and also take advantage to build on a strong community. I think if any project can do that, if you look at projects that are strong today, look at BTC, look at Ethereum. I mean, this project have strong community, base, and if you look at what actually gives a project, or what gives a token or a coin the value it has, is actually the community, the user base.
Yes.
No community that believes in any project, there is, no matter, regardless of what they've built, no matter how beautiful, what that project promises.
Jade, sorry, let's talk about, you said this is an experiment. So do you think this experiment isn't it an expensive experiment by Luna using investors' money? Isn't that expensive?
Yeah, of course, it's very expensive. It's well, um I wouldn't know why they choose to use investors' money to try out this kind of experiment, but it's glaring to everyone's, face that it was a very, very expensive experiment. I wished they were able to carry out, these experiments with their funds, with the funds of their investors, and let their investors know that, see, we don't want to go public yet, because this is the first of its kind. So we just want to, do it the way we can, within us, with our funds, and see how far we can go, and look at, and try as much as possible to look if there will be loopholes, along the line, and be able to fix them just like we had. Even though there were so many stories that came up why that happened, which of course the parties involved came out to deny. But in answering your question, it was a very expensive experiment. They shouldn't have used investors' money, especially the community that never had any affiliation with them. Community that just wanted to play the crypto and make some money from it. I know lots of, in fact, I even have a few persons in my community that lost money in that crash. So that was pretty much an expensive experiment. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, thank you very much. So let's look at Duquan. He has really had character issues, I must say. Persons have, sometimes it talks down on other projects before this crash, and even most especially to competitors. Do you think the community, most especially on Twitter or other places, Reddit, that are lashing back at him? Do you think it's mostly because of the way he has been talking down on projects?
Yes, absolutely it is, because when you're in a public space and all you do is to all you do is to lash at people, talk bad about projects, and you just want everybody to feel you're the one that has the whole solution to whatever it is that the space needs. Everyone will be waiting for the right opportunity to pounce on. That's just what happened. Whenever I look at some of his posts and some of his arguments, he reminds me of Charles Hoskinson, the owner of the
Okay,
uh,
Cardano.
yeah, he used to be that way. you know he used to, especially he has always been that way. A little bit of controversies, trying to but what he does most times, what Charles does, is he lashes out at people who comes after him. But Dokwan just tries to lash out at people, regardless of your perception about his project. And I think that was when the crash happened. It served the community, the Twitter community, the opportunity to lash back at him. And lately I've been seeing lots of posts for people who are calling out the government to come after him, and probably prosecute him. I wouldn't know if that's going to happen eventually, but cryptocurrency is not fully regulated yet. No country has actually come up with a fully regulated structure to regulate cryptocurrencies, and until that happens, that will be when we should start seeing measures taken on some of these projects that are tagged as Ponzi schemes in the space. But I mean, he should have expected people to lash back at him, during this crash.
Okay, talking about regulations, I know while all this is happening, we have not really heard anything from regulators or any arrest or anything from any government. You made mention about that briefly, but do you see that happening very soon?
You mean regulations, right?
No, not regulations, about him being apprehended, the project being queried for what really happened by regulators.
Oh
Do you see
wow.
that happening soon?
Okay. Um, like I said, um, since there is no there's almost no country in the world right now that has a structure that regulates cryptocurrencies. Um, I'm not sure, even though that is what lots of people want, especially those who are coming after him on Twitter. But I'm not certain that is going to happen pretty soon. Is it going to happen? Probably, but I'm not sure how soon that will happen.
Okay, let's look at with all this that has really happened. Let's look at the future of Luna. How do you see the future of Luna with all this that has happened? Are we going to see a bright future?
Oh yeah, so there are still quite lots of persons who still want to take the risk to put some money in Luna. There are lots of persons who are still interested to just play the gamble game. I call it the gamble game. So, of course, looking at what happened, the rise, in price that happened with Luna 1.0, lots of persons still feel that Luna entirely is still going to come back up. I mean, at some point in the um uh, at some point in the life, of everyone, or every business or every project, there will be times where you're going to face challenges. It now depends on how you're able to handle that. So this is one, that has just hit Luna. And I believe the only thing that they lost, of course, they lost money, and one other thing that they lost, which is which is very very key is the trust of many persons. So what they need to do, like I said, they need to do as they need to put out much campaign and much compensation, to community members, especially those who lost significant amount of funds, in the crash. So they need to do all they can to regain the trust of the common investor, not those that backed them up. Now I'm talking about investors that don't have any form of connection with them apart from coming, going to the market or
To
buying
buy
their.
them.
Yeah, so they need to regain the trust of these people. If they can do that over time, because I know they wouldn't want to be known as a project that crashed and never recovered back. No one will want to be known for that. So I know they want to do what they can. The developers, the team, the core team, the investors and all of that. They want to do everything in their powers to make sure Luna succeeds again. But the one thing they need to fix as soon as possible is the trust of the common investors, the trust they had for them. So if they can build that back over time, they will have more people who will believe in the project that will want to, risk their funds for that. I mean, what we do in this space is risking funds. So who wouldn't want to do that, they already had a good track record apart from what happened with the crash, which actually, took them by surprise, because that crash happened in less than 78 hours. So no one anticipated that. But if they can do everything in their powers to build back the trust they lost, because that is apart from the money they lost, of course, they lost the trust of the common investor. If they can do everything in their powers to regain that back up, I believe because they won't come back. I'm not sure what they've come back. They'll want to mess up again. So they want to do everything in their powers to make sure that they build a strong project, regardless of what happens in the market. Their project should be able to stand the crash, the crypto price pullbacks. So what they need to do at this point is build back the trust that they've lost. So if they can do that, I believe their project is going to gain back the strength, the belief, and of course the funds, the investments from new monies, from institutions, and of course from people who want to be willing to try it again.
Okay,
Thank you.
interesting. Let's still on Terra. Let's look one more thing on Terra. We saw when this was playing out, all this when it was playing out, we saw that Dupont, the CEO of Terra, and the Terra itself really enjoyed support from the community and also big projects in the industry, both exchanges and other projects in the crypto space. Do you think that that support was because of the community or the relationship those projects have with the uh, with Dupont, or because it really affected the crypto market?
Oh yes, so I'm not sure there's any project that has had this that has witnessed this kind of crash, since the inception of the crypto space. It happened, in a quick, a blink of an eye. So I think the supports the support the Luna team got from the different parties, that reached out to support was needed. Even though I know they would have their personal um, uh, uh, they would have had some sort of benefits, from it. Probably maybe they invested at the early stage, and of course but let me speak from the stance of Binance. you know you agree with me that Binance, of course, they are one of the big supporters, of Luna. So coming to support Luna at this point was needed. You wouldn't want, there's no sane investor that would have some level of assistance to give to show support, I wouldn't want to do that, so you wouldn't want, if you're doing a project and something happens and you see it going down, you want to do everything, within your powers to make sure it comes back up. So that was, quite expected from Binance. And of course, regardless of being one of the investors, they also had users that had funds in Luna. So it was expected that they would show up and show every support to Luna, so that people, one, they will be able to stay in the market, and two, people will still be able to, want to, somehow bring money back into the system, and also be able to some way, have this hope that they will be able to recover their lost funds. So the support they got from the different parties, was expected, and it goes a long way to show that we all need each other in this space. So I think that was expected. Even though, like I said earlier on, I know that they would have had some personal benefits that they don't necessarily need to come and start telling us. But you and I know that somehow, some way, they had their interest, to also protect.
Yes, because one would have expected that um, Terra or Luna be delisted by these major exchanges. But I can't really cite a project that have done this that they delisted. But I could see in the case of SRP, that's Repo, when they were facing lawsuits, which the lawsuit is still ongoing from the SEC, US SEC. We saw a lot of exchanges delisting SRP, and maybe it's because they are afraid of the regulators. But this one would have expected some delisting from the crypto exchange, but that didn't happen. But we saw a lot of support. Like he rightly said, maybe there may be some hidden interest from those projects, because like we know, Binance is also an investor in that particular project. So let's see how this plays out. So we'll be going for a short break, still on the show Good Morning Africa. We'll be going for a short break. When we return, we continue with our conversation with our guest. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. So still on your morning show, Good Morning Africa. So we are still on the headlines, trending headlines, and we have our guest, Jadel Chide, who is helping us to dissect these headlines. So we've been able to look at Luna. So let's on briefly on Luna, Jadel. How do you see the impact Luna really made in the cryptocurrency market? And do you see, are we going to see the market bouncing back soon?
Okay, so the impact has been very, 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 very huge. Because I mean, lots of persons. I learned that few days after the crash. Within that period, I learned on Twitter that about 8 persons, lost their lives. Committed suicide. So this is something that I'm not sure is going to be forgotten in this space, and so it also serves as a lesson to every project builder, every developer out there. No one wants to make these kinds of mistake again. So it's going to be a huge lesson for every project founder. The everybody who probably there might be people who would have been building something of such. Don't want to go back to their drawing boards and make sure that they fix and look for every loophole, and try as much as possible to fix everything they need to, before they come to the market. So it's a big lesson both for the investor, both for the builder, and of course for the onlookers as well. This also goes a long way to remind people that whatever it is you whatever however beautiful, a project looks, regardless of the profit a project promises to give to you, you need to, as much as possible, invest to what you can afford to lose. And also at every level, you need to also take profit. Because I believe some persons that were affected by the crash were there's individuals who never took out profit, to a certain degree, where they will feel that, they've actually, been able to benefit, from the rising price of Luna. So it's a huge lesson, that has lots of branches for everyone who is a key player in the space. So you have to learn to fine tune your project properly before coming to the market. You also have to learn to take profit along the way. You also have to learn to invest with what you can afford to lose, regardless of how much it is. At every investor have their appetite level. So it could be $100 for this person, it could be 1,000 or even $100,000 for that other person. So, but at your level, you have to stick to what works, for you, so that you won't be affected by whatever crash that happens in the market. So it's a big lesson, it's a huge lesson to every player in the market.
Yeah, very big lesson. And also, that's I know that has also given regulators more reasons to look into this ecosystem, because regulations will also help. Though we are not going to be clamoring for regulations that will stifle innovation. So let's look at what. How do you see the market, the crypto market recovering soon? We see how the market is reacting, most especially with the Luna 2.0. Are we going to see? I know you have a bit experience in trading. Are we going to be seeing some recovery? Those lines that goes up and down. How is it going to look like this time around?
Okay, so is it for Luna or for the market
No, the
in
entire market, entire crypto market.
Okay, yeah. So well, some of us who actively trade believe that the bear run has setting, you know, has setting eventually, because of course, if not if you know that the crypto market has a cycle, and every halving, brings us into the second phase of the cycle. So the last halving, which happened in 2020, actually brought us into the bull run, that we experienced between I think Q3 2020 into late 2021. So even though lots of persons argued that 2021, late 2021, was actually officially the beer season, but not quite lots of us agree to that. But seeing what is being played, seeing what has played out, not only with Luna, but with lots of projects, losing 20 to 45%, 50% of their value, from the last spike, that saw Bitcoin rising from less than 15K, to 20 to 69K, which was the, all-time high, So we believe, personally, my own opinion, I believe we're now in the beer run, which could see us, hover around, not really those major gains we used to see in the space, before now, the major gains, the kind of gains we saw in late 2020 into 2021, so but however, anything can happen. This is everyone is a speculator, regardless of how much you think you know about the market. And of course, the market is a volatile one. But one thing I always argue with people is that it's possible, that this current bear cycle that we have caught in might not last as long as much as the previous one lasted. Because if you look at what we have today in the space, we are experiencing lots of adoption, lots of awareness. In 2017, there was the big investors, today, the big banks, today, we're all talking down on Bitcoin, but today we have many of them, filing for rights with the SEC, to be able to offer cryptocurrency services, ETF. I mean, last year we witnessed, was it last year? Last year we witnessed the first ETF that was approved in the US. That has never happened before now. So I mean, last year we also witnessed the first country to adopt Bitcoin as one of his Lego tender. So I mean, we've experienced between 2020 to this point, we've seen lots of institutions, coming into the space, putting money into the space. We've seen countries, showing interest to adopt cryptocurrency, either to come up with their CBDCs, so we've seen lots of interest, lots of adoption, and lots of new monies and institutional monies, coming into the space, more than what we ever imagined, before the last halving. So what this goes to tell, in my own opinion, is the beer run that we're used to might not, pan out like that this period. We might see something different happening this period, and the bulls might come back on pretty much earlier than we had the last time. And again, I'm one of those persons that look forward to regulation. If there is a proper regulatory structure in the space, we won't be seeing those kind of uh, unexpected hikes, in prices, But of course, it's going to help. Why I look forward to regulation is it's going to give opportunity to lots of persons, especially in countries like US, and the likes, to be able to come into the space and comfortably want to bring in their money, and invest in cryptocurrency. So, in reality, as my opinion, I feel we are in the bear run, so we might not be seeing those some of those, or we might not be seeing altcoins, going as far to do $1,000 and more like we used to. I mean, sorry, 1,000% and more like we used to see, in the past, But of course, are we going to see some of these gains? We will, but not this is actually, I don't think this is that period where we'll see Bitcoin spiking from $30 to 69K, and even up to 100K, that as people had predicted in 2020 into 2021. So I mean, but we are hopeful, that the market is going to bounce back up and see everyone, happy again.
So that's very interesting. You said we are on a bear run. We call on the bulls to come. So let's look at what can we use to determine what we are in. So how do we know that, since you said we are experiencing a bear run, how do we determine that we are in a bear run? Is there a pointer? And if we are in a bear run, when did that start?
Okay, yeah. So uh, there are lots of pointers. One of the pointers people don't pay attention to is there are historical snapshots, on coin market cap, on a coin gecko. You'll be able, when you familiarize yourself with these snapshots, you'll be able to see what has happened, uh, what has happened every month since the inception of BTC, and of course the cryptocurrency market entirely. So if you use these tools very well, you'll be able to compare, the price action, of the bulls and of the bears, at every point in time, especially after every halving. So when you're able to use these tools, you'll be able to tell, what could happen, in the coming, in the nearest future. And of course, we also have the chain analysis tools, where you're able to see the inflow of BTC into exchanges and the outflow, of cryptos, from exchanges into wallets, into different, into reserves, and all of that. So lots of people don't really pay attention to these tools, but if you pay attention to what happens with the chain analysis, and of course with this historical snapshots, you should be able to tell, at least to a certain degree, when we are in the bear run, and of course when we are in the bull run. And what I always want people to pay attention is, you don't necessarily have to believe what every media says, because lately what we've been seeing in the media is stories of, the media will not necessarily tell you that we are in the bear run. There's always a project, that will do well, regardless of the cycle. Not necessarily those, huge numbers. So the media is not going to tell you entirely, how everything is going to play out, or how it's playing out. And even some of the project builders or founders might not want to tell, they will not necessarily go to the media and tell you that, hey guys, we are officially in the bear run. They will want to make you feel that everything is still, happening, properly, the way it should happen. But when you make use of some of these tools I mentioned, and play close attention to people who have been there, before now, who have witnessed almost all the bear run, or almost all of the cycle. Let me use that word. When you follow these guys and pay attention to what they say, you should also have a better clue of where the market is headed. But like I said, if you can pay attention, it's not that easy. It's not something you'll be able to do just in one sitting. But if you're able to pay attention with the information you have, the data you have, on CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and the various listing sites, with the historical snapshots, and you're able to also pay attention with what happens with the data that is on chain analysis, the different chain analysis platforms, you'll be able to tell for sure, if we are close to the bear run, of you will be able to tell for sure, what at what point we are in the crypto cycle.
Okay, interesting. Always why we encourage everyone to do your due diligence and make your own research so that you know what is happening. So those chain analysis tools are very, very vital. So let's away from what is happening in the crypto. Let's look at regulations. With the what's your take around the entire uh, SEC Nigeria's regulation, cryptocurrency regulation? What's your take about it? Mostly, we've seen many industry players pointing at the licensing fee of around $1.2 million, and also a lot of the discussions there. They are not happy, most especially that licensing fee, and they are talking about how these startups are going to be able to raise these fees, and also that a particular regulation didn't specify whether foreign or local players will pay. So it's just flat rate. So both local and foreign players will pay the same amount or to get those license. What's your take around that particular uh, regulation?
Oh wow. So well Nigeria is an interesting country, and uh of course the people who draft out that framework or that document uh, didn't do the right. I feel they didn't do the right thing because they already know, that there are key players in Nigeria in the crypto space, and of course I know quite a number of persons who consult for SEC and also CBN. So it's not as if these people are far to reach, to reach out to. And of course, I'm aware that SEC, is in contact with some professionals in, of course, there's a body, that is self regulated, which is known as CBAN, stakeholders in blockchain in Nigeria, association in Nigeria, So the SEC, are aware of what these guys are doing. So I felt the right thing the SEC would have done, before coming out with that document was to approach these guys, and say, hey guys, this is what we are planning to do. We want to come up with a document to regulate, what you guys do. So what do you guys think can work? What kind of fee do you think can work for startups? That there are lots of startups that might not be able to raise that kind of funds. Even if even if they operate for 4 years. Even though there is this notion that people who are not in cryptocurrency have, that cryptocurrency is lucrative, and everybody who is involved in cryptocurrency is making lots of funds.
Yes,
So they
yes.
believe that there's free money in crypto, but in reality, that's not what it is. So I think they didn't do well by coming up with those kind of stringent, especially with the fee, the registration fee, where you have to have $1 million, 1 million plus, for you to be able to float your project, and all of that. There are other things involved, but what is the guarantee, that even if you have that money to pay, that you'll be able to make back, that money. I mean, it's an open market, so you're not the only player, that is going to be offering whatever service or product you're offering to the community, the Nigerian community. So that isn't a fair framework, for the Nigerian community. It's not at all. And I think it also gives us an opportunity as players and also as a body to look for a way to reach out to these guys, because it's not visible. Even the big guys, they might want to pay that, if you look at Binance, and co, they might want to pay that, but is it sustainable? That's one thing you also have to ask yourself. Is it sustainable? And of course, is not encouraging for local players to come and play. So what that document should do, it is supposed to encourage local players to, take their stand, in the country, and of course operate, efficiently. So, but this is only going to give room for people who are already operating to want to close down and look for a better environment to um, go operate, and this won't be good for the Nigerian economy. So I think they might not want to, because they already feel that there is a lot of free money in the market. So regardless of what we might be telling them from our different locations, they might not want to look at it. But I think this is an opportunity for every player, of course, who resides in Nigeria or who also plans to have something, because it does not only affect those who offer digital assets as a product or as a service. It does not only affect those persons. It also affects every player, regardless of how small or how big you play in the space. So I think it's an opportunity for us to come together as a body, and of course make our voice heard and make them know that that document will not in any way, work for our current reality.
Okay, thank you very much. Talking about consulting the industry players, I learned we are consulted, the stakeholders in the ecosystem, we are consulted, and they had some many meetings and conversations before that regulation was brought out. But they are lamenting that most of the things they asked the SEC to do were not done. And so it was as if all their comments and inputs was totally ignored. Let's see how that plays out. I know you briefly mentioned about some project leaving the shores of Nigeria because of this regulation. So I want you to, how do you see the future of crypto startups with these new regulations? So, that was February last year when the Central Bank of Nigeria prohibited financial companies and banks, financial institutions and banks from providing financial services to crypto companies. And we saw a lot of projects leaving the shores of Nigeria. What do you see happening here? Are there going to be a lot of them leaving?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So if um if this current document that has been released is not addressed, if the concerns of the players is not addressed at this point, over time, lots of startups are going to look for a safe haven, and that will mean leaving, the country into looking for a better environment, or a more friendly environment to operate. So obviously, that is going to happen if our concerns, are not addressed. But we hope it's going to be addressed, as soon as possible. But in a situation where that doesn't happen, over time, you will see lots of startups, changing base. So that's what is going to happen eventually if the concerns that have been raised, by the players is not being addressed by the SEC.
Okay, thank you very much. That's how far we can go on this conversation. So, just lastly, before we let you go, you've really done amazingly well on these conversations, on these trending topics. Just what's your take? Just a closing remarks before we let you go.
Okay, so my take on the market generally, or what is there a
Just
particular?
anything you want to say, closing remark.
Okay, yeah. So hopefully, if anyone in the SEC who has some sort of powers to, make changes, gets to see this, I think they need to go back to their drawing board, and of course work hand in hand with CBAN, and other players in the industry to come up with favorable conditions, for regulation. And also want to put out a word out there to everyone who have probably lost that money, with the crash. It's part of the market, it's part of life. Of course, uh, you have to take caution when even when you're putting money in a project that doesn't have to do with cryptocurrency. You have to be mindful and put in what you can afford to lose. And for those who want to be part of what is happening in the crypto space, like I always tell people, what excites me the more is not even crypto. It's what is happening with blockchain technology. But if you want to come into this space and stay relevant, one thing you should do for yourself is you have to be willing and committed to studying. There are lots of trends coming up every day. There are lots of innovations springing up every day. So there are lots of things, information out there that you need to go get by yourself. So you have to be committed and willing to learning. That is where your journey starts from. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be doing this with you this morning, and I look forward to more of this. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Wonderful one there with Jadel Chi, the founder of Crypto Cribs and League Blockchain League community. Thank you. It has really been an amazing time out with him here. I really appreciate it. Like you said, we are much more open to seeing you coming on the show more often. Thank you very much once again. So it's still Good Morning Africa live on Cnetv. So our breakfast show where we help you get started every morning. It runs at 7 a.m. West African time every Monday till Friday. So good morning, Africa, and happy new month. So we're almost coming to the end of the show today. But before then, we'll go for a short break. When we return, I'm going to be